Warnya hurriedly waved her hand. Actually, my brother is quite good. I am not going to inherit the Song family in the future. I just hope that after my grandfather dies, I won't be swept out by them. Charlie smiled slightly and said seriously, with me there, this kind of thing will not happen. Warnya was so grateful that she rubbed her eyes and said, Mr. Wade, I will take you to clinic. After that, start the car and drove out of the villa. In the clinic at this time, Tianqi was taking Jovia to clean up the medicine cabinet that was smashed by Wu's bodyguards. Seeing Charlie and Warnya stepping forward, Tianqi hurried forward and said in surprise, Mr. Wade, why are you here? And Miss Song, isn't your grandpa having his birthday? Charlie smiled slightly and said, I heard Jovia say that Wu's family had come here to make trouble, so I'll take a look at the situation on your side. Is the loss great? Tianqi waved his hand and smiled calmly. It's nothing more than the loss of some medicine cabinets and medicinal materials. Charlie nodded and said, I broke Roger's right hand as a small punishment. In addition, I told them that they must come and apologize within 3 days. When Tianqi heard these words, he hurriedly said nervously, Mr. Wade, you don't need to fight with the Wu family for the little things of old age. The Wu family is the first family in the south of the Yangtze River. I'm afraid they will hold grudges and intentions of revenge. Charlie said calmly, Don't worry, if the Wu family wants to retaliate, let them come, and I will tell them with the result that Orus Hill is not Suzhou, and there is a price to pretend to be forced. Jovia looked admiringly and said, Mr. Wade, thank you for helping me and Grandpa out of this nasty breath. The father and son surnamed Wu are really too much, so I have to teach them a lesson and make them a little in awe. Tianqi looked at Jovia and reprimanded, What are you talking about? How many times have I told you, don't trouble Mr. Wade, why don't you understand? Jovia nodded aggrievedly, not daring to say more. Charlie said at this moment, Senior Shi, it is true that the reason why the Wu family father and son came to trouble you, to a certain extent, also has something to do with me. Tianqi, Jovia, and Warnya were all a little surprised, and they didn't understand what Charlie meant. Charlie smiled slightly and said, Everyone is not an outsider, so I'm telling the truth. The second son of the Wu family, Wu Qi, became like the one uploaded by YouTube because I added a psychological hint to him. Ah! All 3 people present were dumbfounded. No one thought that the culprit behind Wu Qi, who became a feces-swallowing beast and famous all over the country, turned out to be made so by Charlie. Jovia subconsciously asked, Mr. Wade, do you have any conflicts with that Wu Qi? Charlie said calmly, I have no contradiction with him, just simply can't bear his attitude. After speaking, Charlie said again, This kid does not study well in college, always abuses female students, and even tries to induce Qin Gang's daughter's girlfriend to commit suicide. I could not tolerate it, so I gave him a lesson and let him do this. There is no way to abuse a girl in my life. Jovia immediately looked at him in admiration and blurted out, Mr. Wade, you are really my idol. I have long heard that Wu Qi is not a good thing. He has become like this. I don't know how many people clapped and cheered. It turns out that it was Mr. Wade who walked the way for the sky. Warnya on the side could not help exclaiming, Mr. Wade, the reason why Regnar is still in Orus Hill is to find the one who attacked Wu Qi. I didn't expect it to be you. Just when Warnya, Jovia and Tianqi were sighing about Wu Qi's affairs, Charlie's old father-in-law Jacob wore a suit and happily came out from home and took a taxi to Classic Mansion. Because he was going to have a little wine in the evening, Jacob left the BMW car at home and gave the car key to Charlie so that Charlie could drive to Classic Mansion to pick him up. Jacob has no other hobbies during the recent period. He just likes to study antiques, cultural relics and calligraphy and painting, so he joined the Calligraphy and Painting Association. This dinner is also to be able to get a seat as a standing director of the association. In order to show his respect for the leaders of the association, he deliberately took the 20,000 that Charlie transferred to him, and set a bronze box in Classic Mansion. Although this is the worst box in Classic Mansion, it is much stronger than most other restaurants. When Jacob arrived at Classic Mansion, Orville was on his way. The waiter didn't know Jacob, so he directly led Jacob to the bronze box he had reserved. Seeing that the others hadn't arrived yet, Jacob was not impatient, and simply sat in his seat and patiently waited for everyone to arrive. A few minutes later, the door of the box was pushed open, and a middle-aged man of his age stepped in. After seeing Jacob, the middle-aged man walked forward, smiled and said, "Brother Wilson, you came really early? When did you arrive?" Jacob hurriedly said, "Brother Zewin, I have been here for a while. Today, the chairman and the executive directors are honored to participate in this dinner of my group. I am really honored and excited, so I rushed over in advance and awaited your ride." The middle-aged man who came here was named Zewin, a standing director of the Calligraphy and Painting Association. He and Jacob had a pretty good relationship in peacetime. Both of them liked to throw up some antique calligraphy and painting, so they often found things together in the antique street, and they had a lot of friendship. When he heard that Jacob wanted to compete for the position of executive director, he was the first to stand up and support Jacob. Moreover, Jacob hosted a banquet for the leaders of the association today. The reason why they agreed to come over is largely because of Zewin's face.